What's up everybody, Belligerent here with another Bloodline video, and we're just going to jump into it. We're going to talk about the Samir Clan. Enough of you wanted me to talk about the Samir Clan, that's what we're going to do. I appreciate that even though it's been so long, and I'm sure there's already been other videos and other opinions and all of this information put out, but I appreciate that enough of you still wanted my opinion to vote for this option. So let's talk about the Samir Clan. This is going to be a really quick video, because I think at this point you've probably had time to read their abilities, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. I'm just going to kind of give my thoughts, but I'm not going to read them verbatim the way that I normally do. We're just going to talk about the Samir Clan, what I've seen playing with them, and I'm sure a lot of you want to know who I think you should go after, which one I think is better, and which one I think is better between the Samir and the Naga. So let's jump into it. Before we get started though, let me say two things. One, I think the city skin from this event is phenomenal. Like, I really like it. I really enjoy it. And I actually think I'm going to keep using it. The only thing I don't like is the red dragon down in the corner. I can't see the diamond that tells me when it's time to collect anymore. Besides that, I think the city skin really well, much better than the Halloween skin. The Christmas skin was pretty good, but let's face it, we're not going to look at Christmas stuff all year long. I think this one could actually have some staying ability. Second thing I want to say is I want to give props to GOAT Games. I know. Don't kill me for saying that. If you have followed me long enough, you know that I'm a big believer in that if we're going to call them out, we also have to give them their props when they do something good. I think there's been a lot of good things. I'll talk about that in another video, but when it comes specifically to this event, I think we have to give them their props because they told us about both the Samir and the Naga at the same time. The Samir was a complete surprise to me. I didn't know they were coming. I thought the Nagas were next. I was telling people the Nagas were next, and boom, here comes this Lion Clan that I didn't even know existed. But they told us about the Nagas too, and not only did they tell us about the Nagas, I mean, we've known the Nagas were coming since basically the game started, because they had a community vote, and Naga clans were one of the ones that won. But they showed us the abilities of the Nagas. They gave us the date that they were coming. So, yes, it's very close together. It's only like 2 weeks apart, but that's what they're aiming for. But now at this point, if you spend your resources on the Samir and you miss out on the Naga, that's on you, because you knew they were coming. Alright, so let's jump into it. So you have the male Samir, kind of Mr. Spin to win, and he does it even better because he spins forward and pushes people. That's really his impact on the game. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's low impact, because that ability is big. Pushing everybody to the backline with an active, not an ultimate, so it triggers in 10 seconds, the first 10 seconds of the match. So you start by pushing their entire front line into the backline. Now I'm curious to know what happens if you have Samir versus Samir. Is it kind of like male Sally versus male Sally, where they just kind of bounce off each other? I haven't seen that interaction yet. But you start the match by pushing their front line into their back line. Now you have a group at their back line. That is big, because usually one of the biggest keys to winning a match in Bloodline is getting to the back line. Of course, assuming that we ignore female Devala. But that's big. That is a big move, a big push. I like it. Okay? The ultimate I don't care for. The roar and the 3-second stun is nice. The fact that it only targets one player is, yeah. I would, if it was AoE, it would be nice. And I know you guys are saying, wait, but if anybody's caught in between them, they don't get stunned. Also, I don't think, at least it doesn't say that in the description. And furthermore, I don't know that because, at least in my playtesting, there's rarely people in between them. If there's that many people in between him and the target with the highest damage or the highest strength, his spin didn't do its job and it didn't group everybody together. So I'm not a huge fan of the ultimate. I'm not saying it's a bad ultimate. It's just, I don't think it's as strong as people want it to be. It does do 650% damage, but again, it's only single target because the people caught in between only get 300% damage. So, yeah, I'm a much bigger fan of the active. I'm also a fan of his passive, 35% at max damage decrease, strength decrease, whatever nuance that is. That's really big, especially because the circle where he marks his territory. Also, raise your hands. Am I the only one that read the ability where it says at the start of the match he marks his territory? Am I the only one that half expected him to walk out, lift his leg, and pee on the ground? Like, I know that's probably pretty bad, but that's what marking his territory sounds like to me. But anyways, it's the big circle on the ground around him. Anybody inside that circle gets their strength cut by 35%, or their damage. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm not reading these. As you can see, I don't have my phone. It's on the screen over here. I will put it in the video so you can see the exact language, but I don't remember if it's strength or damage. But that's really what you're worried about, is the damage output. Okay, that's big. It's also big because he groups everybody together, so you oftentimes, more often than not, get the majority of the team in the circle than out of the circle. Okay, the female now, her active, unlike the males, is fairly underwhelming. Unless you're a fan of Captain America and you like the fact that she throws her shield. Otherwise, I think it's like 135% damage. Does almost nothing. The one key to the active, though, is the knockback that she does on the final slash, which is also a crit, by the way. The final slash knocks them back. Now, what this does is it allows, like, these two play very well in tandem together. I know you guys are expecting me to tell you which one, but in my playtesting, I really like using them both together, because he'll push, but if he misses her target because she's on the opposite side of the front line, her active will push back, and then everybody is still grouped together. I really like that. Otherwise, her active is garbage. Her ultimate, big. Her ultimate is makes the champion. An AoE silence, 3-second silence, and causes them to take 20% more damage. Okay? So that's like an additional fierce for everybody on the team, basically. Okay, at least in the targets that she hits. And that's why they work well together, because he pushes everybody into a group and she walks forward and roars at everybody, and her ultimate will more often than not hit everybody on the team, or at least the good majority of them. Her passive, I don't even know really what it does. It gives her damage reduction when she takes, I think it's 10% of her constitution in damage. It doesn't tell us how much, so I don't really care. So which one should you take? Which one do I prefer? Okay. And I know everybody is like, male, because he does so much damage. And you're right, he does. His active does 450%, which is really high for an active. His ultimate does 650%, even though it's single target. That's big for an ultimate. I prefer the female. I think her ultimate is more game-changing than his kit. Let me rephrase that. She is more plug and play. You can drop her into any comp that you are currently running. Him, on the other hand, you got to be more careful, because if you get, like, if you're running a comp with female Devala and he pushes some of the people but not all of the people, we've all seen it where female Devala turns into this blood pool pinball but doesn't actually do damage to anybody because she's trying to hit all of the targets in the 3 seconds or 5 seconds that she's in that ult. We've all seen her do that. He can cause that because of the way he pushes. You can't run him with male Tide. He'll push everybody. Male Tide's going to pull him back. When female Naga comes, she pulls the furthest champion from her. Now, if she moves forward with his group, and there's like a male Yiv that jumps onto the backline, or who's the other one? Female Strixbane, male Harul, any of that stuff. she could pull them back into the group. So that could work, but there's also the opportunity for him to push somebody and her to pull somebody. So you have to be careful about the comp that you run with him, as where her, the female Samir, much more of a plug and play champion. My preference of the two, despite the damage, because if honestly, like, we have female Devala, even if you don't have female Devala, you have some other better DPS options. If you're looking at the male Samir to be your DPS, you probably need to revisualize your comp. And maybe not. Maybe you're good at building comps and maybe you built one around him, but that's my point. You will have to build around him. As for her, you can kind of drop her into any composition that you have right now because her ultimate is just that good. Samir Naga. Let's talk about that. If you can only do one, which one should you do? Well, I've been saying this on my Discord since it dropped. I think by far the Naga will be better than the Samir. That being said, the Samir are top 2 warrior that we have currently. So when the Naga come out, at worst, they'll be 3rd and 4th. So if you want to invest into the Samir, or you have already invested into the Samir, and you don't think you're going to be able to invest in the Naga as well, don't worry about it. You still have some of the best warriors in the game that are very functional, and both of the Samir are very playable. I just think the Naga are going to be better. Now, I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me. It's good to be back, so feel free to leave your disagreements with me in the comments below. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm Belligerent. Peace.